Shit. We're good. Okay, are we good? Question for today is what to expect when you get your first tattoo. So my first tattoo I got, I'm pretty sure it was on my 18th birthday. If not, it was pretty close. You have to be 18 in Australia to get your first tattoo. It's illegal. There is no signed parental consent. I don't know where that rumor came from. I think you used to be able to, but you can't now. No tattoos if you're under the age of 18. It's not gonna happen. My first tattoo was, it's really embarrassing. See how it's upside down? So when I go to show you, it warps around my wrist. Because if I showed you like this, it's not too bad, but it's upside down. It's not very good. It started out as a circle. I'm not going to get into why, because it's really embarrassing. It's more embarrassing than just having a circle by itself and nothing else. But anyway, turned it into a peace sign. Then I also was like, why a peace sign? I don't know. But obviously it's really nerve-wracking. You have no idea what to expect. You don't know what it's going to feel like. I remember feeling like, what if I can't handle the pain? What if I embarrass myself? What if I start crying? What if I pee my pants? I'm doing a terrible job today. Did much better the other day. I've never had anyone come in and start their first tattoo and then not be able to handle it and leave. That never happens. So, best thing you can do before you get a tattoo is decide what you want. It's really hard to decide what you want, especially when it's your first tattoo, and I go on Pinterest, Instagram, Tumblr, and I think of something that I want. So like, forget about my first tattoo. That one was a disaster that I just got because I wanted it for the sake of it. And like, I don't hate it because it is my first tattoo and it's sentimental and it's cute, but I do wish I had to put a little bit more thought into it, and that's what I want to express to all of you. Before you get your tattoo, really have to think about it, because it's dumb. Later on you're like, oh, so dumb. So think of something that won't outdate, something that is always going to be cool. It's always going to be pretty. It's like denim. Denim never goes out of fashion. Everybody loves denim. Think of something along those lines for your first tattoo, and then later on worry about what else you're going to get. So another tattoo that I got was, this was the second tattoo I got. It's the bird behind my neck. Is it focusing? I feel like it's not. I got that little swallow tattoo because I actually looked into tattooing after that. When I got my first tattoo, I was petrified. I was shitting my pants, but I sat down, I got it, and as soon as he started tattooing, I thought to myself, I love this. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. So I did some research after that, and I found that sailors used to get old swallow tattoos. Swallows can actually mean a lot of things. So a sailor would get a swallow tattoo after they've travelled 5,000 nautical miles, and then they get two after they've travelled 10,000 nautical miles. So the further they've travelled, the more swallow tattoos they get, is the tradition. They're also a symbol of good luck. They can mean a lot of things. It was sort of back then, it was sort of a look how far I've come sort of good luck tattoo. And whether or not anyone else agrees with that, it doesn't really matter. I looked into it. I got some information on the history of the tattoo, and I thought, you know, it's a traditional old school tattoo. It's something that a lot of really old tattoo artists have. It's very classic. It's never going to go out of fashion. I still love that tattoo, so I think I did better the second time around getting that one. So do your research. Think of something that you really want. Say flowers. You go, alright, I really like flowers, I really like roses. So you can Google roses, have a look on Pinterest and find a picture of a rose you really like. Look at rose tattoos, look at styles and different ways you can do the tattoo. For example, a rose can look completely different if you do it in traditional style of tattooing, which is the, you know, basic American traditional, where tattooing sort of started out before it started to get into more advanced artwork. You can get neo-traditional, which is almost like, let me Google the actual definition. So a neo-traditional tattoo is a modern variation of the old school or American traditional tattoo. So it's like it's like a traditional tattoo, but it's got a modern spin on it, so it can be a little bit more realistic, and it doesn't have to be so bold lines, bold color. You can have a bit of shading in there, and you can have a more realistic style of design. And you could also go realism, which will look like a photo of a rose on your body. If you get someone who knows how to do it really well, it can look like a photograph and it can look amazing. You can get black and gray, you can get color. There's so many different styles of tattooing these days, and there's so many amazing artists who can do them. So first decide what style you want to get, and then the next step is to find an artist who does that style. There are a lot of tattoo artists out there who say that they can do anything, and I feel like that's a little bit risky, because every tattoo artist should know the basics. They should know how to line, shade, pack color. They should know all of those things. Some of them don't though, and this is the problem that we encounter, because when you want to go to get your first tattoo and you're not sure where to go, please don't just walk into a tattoo shop and go, whoever's free, I want to get this, because that's when you end up with a bad tattoo. Because whoever's free is just going to take your money and be like, yeah, I'm amazing at this, but you haven't even looked at their work, so you don't know that they can do it. Just names and like tiny little silhouette birds or a little tiny cross or something, that's okay. Most tattooers should be able to do that. That's basic. But I mean, if you want a realistic rose and you just go to somebody who specializes in script, they may not be able to give you a realistic rose as good as somebody who does realism every day. This tattoo is going to last forever on you. Don't worry about the price. If you can't afford the price that you've been quoted, then go home and save some more money and wait. Don't just go, oh, I've only got this much money right now, and I want it right now, so I'm just gonna get whatever I can afford. That's a really dumb idea. When I first started getting tattoos, I had no idea about anything, and I was like, oh wow, $250 for a tiny tattoo, that's way too expensive. I'll just go and get it for $80 somewhere else. And I ended up with a crappy tattoo. Look at this peace sign. Like, I got this for $80. Shop minimum ranges in Australia, it could be different everywhere else, but in Australia, what I believe is the basic shop minimum for a shop that you know is good quality will start around 100 and go up to about 150. The shop minimum, the shop I work at now, is 120. So that means even if you get a dot, you're going to be paying $120. That's our setup price. If you go into a shop and they say they have a $50 minimum, I'd be like, boy, bye. Like, no, don't get a tattoo at that shop. Unless they're an apprentice and you know they're an apprentice. Sometimes the apprentice is cheaper because they're just learning, but they're supposed to tell you they're an apprentice. Have a look at their work and see how experienced they are, because there are some apprentices who have been tattooing for like a day and they're better than people who've been tattooing for 20 years. So being an apprentice doesn't really make you shit. It just means you're inexperienced. So at least have a look at previous work they've done and see if it's any good. And you've decided what you want to get. You've researched on the internet, you've decided what style, what design, and you've got a rough idea of where you want it. The next step is to find an artist. Instagram is amazing for that these days. If you go on Instagram and just type in the hashtag, I'm from Melbourne, so if I'm looking for an artist, I would hashtag Melbourne tattooer, Melbourne tattoo artist Melbourne. And then through them, you can find what shop they work at, go to the shop they work at on Instagram, find all the other artists at their shop. Shops in your area, just Google them, and then have a look at each individual artist on their website and check out their work and see if any of their work relates to the thing that you want to get. Don't feel pressured, because it is very intimidating going into a tattoo shop for the first time. A lot of people come in and they're shaking, the poor things, like, I'm not scary, it's okay. Before I went into a tattoo shop the first time, I was petrified, because in my head I'm just thinking, they're going to be bikies, they're working at a tattoo shop, they're going to be scary, they're going to laugh at me, they're going to be like, look at this little girl who wants a tattoo. It's not like that anymore. And some people, you have to book a consultation. With me, I just say, just come down to the shop, and I'm pretty much always there. I'm not there right now, obviously, because I don't work on Tuesdays, but come down to the shop and talk to me anytime. Really look for someone who's interested in what you're getting, because if they don't seem interested in your design, they're not going to do a very good job of it, because you really want them to love it. Art is something that comes from the heart, and if their heart isn't in it, it's going to be a shit job. So if they don't sound too excited, I'd go to someone else, go to your plan B, because you don't want something half-assed on your body forever. Sometimes you might have to wait. You might have to wait a month, to a few months to a year, depending on how coveted that artist is, the more wanted that they are, the more booked out they are, that's a good sign. That means they're a really good artist. So if you have to wait, you should be happy. You should be excited that you have to wait, because that means your tattoo is going to be amazing, because everybody wants a tattoo from this person. So the night before you get a tattoo, don't drink. Don't drink any alcohol. Even one drink will alter your blood and thin it out and make you bleed. You can wait. It's fine. Get a good night's sleep so your body's well rested. And when you wake up in the morning, have a massive breakfast. Have McDonald's if you want. Don't get meat though. Meat's bad for you. What I like to bring to my tattoo appointment is I bring a bottle of water, I bring a banana, and I bring a bag of lollies. I suffer from anxiety, and things like getting a tattoo, even though I've had so many tattoos and I'm not worried about the pain, I know what's coming. I don't know why, but my body just goes into anxiety mode, and that can drop your blood sugar levels. And sometimes people subconsciously hold their breath when they're getting a tattoo, and that's when they pass out. So you can take painkillers before you get a tattoo, as long as it's not a painkiller like aspirin that will thin your blood out. That's going to make you bleed more, same as what the alcohol does. So if you want to pop some Panadol before you get your tattoo appointment, that will help a little bit. Just bring a bowl of water. Make sure you tell your artist if you're a bit nervous, so that they know, you know, to be really gentle with you. We get nervous people all the time. Don't be embarrassed. It's totally fine. And make sure you're getting tattooed by somebody you feel comfortable with, because if you don't feel comfortable with them, that's going to freak you out more. So you need to trust them. I don't know if there's anything else you need to think about before you get your first tattoo, but the main points are: make sure you do your research. Very, very important. Do your research and find an artist that's going to be perfect for the job that you want to get done. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. You can email me. Right here is my email. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.